everybody, it's Emily with the Leaf Youth Program. I'm here today to do some cooking with you from my home kitchen. We are going to make a kale salad today. And in our Leaf Program, we love to cook with items that are freshly harvested from the farm. And we were lucky to be able to harvest some very special kale this week that I'm going to use for this salad. Now, why is this special kale? It's special because this is early in the year to be able to harvest a nice, beautiful kale like this. And that's because it hasn't been warm for very long. It's been really warm this week, but it was cold not too long ago. So this kale has been overwintered. That means that we planted it in the ground in the fall, and we let it get big enough before the weather got really cold that it was able to survive the winter. We covered it with special row cover, and that protected it from those really snowy days and those icy days. It kept the soil warm enough for it to stay alive, even though it didn't grow or get very much bigger. And then as the warm days came again, it was able to sort of grow a little bit more, and then we were able to harvest it, and we're going to use it today in our kale salad. So this kale salad recipe is something that we've made in our Leaf class a lot of times. It's definitely a class favorite, so we hope you will enjoy it today and can join in and make it with us. So the first step is we're going to use a whole bunch of kale. This is actually the whole plant, but if you're getting it from the store, you would use a whole bunch, or something like 8 to 10 leaves, depending on how big they are. We're going to start by taking our kale leaves and trying to get some of those tough stems off. So I like to just leave, I don't worry about getting the whole stem, but sort of strip off some of the big stem. These are totally edible, but they're a little tough, so we're gonna skip them in our salad today. And then I'm gonna put this in my strainer because I'm gonna give everything a rinse. So I'm gonna take everything off the stems. All right, so look at that beautiful kale. It's all been taken off of the stems. We got our stems kind of over here that we can compost or use for a different recipe where we cook them a little. And then we're gonna give it a nice rinse. All right, so now my kale has been washed and I've pulled it out of the sink. You have two options now. So we're gonna get a big bowl to put our chopped kale in. But what you can do, one option is that you can take your pieces of kale and you can just break it by hand into like more bite-sized pieces. Just kind of rip it up until you've got a lot of small pieces, and you can put those in your bowl and then get there ready for the next step. What our recipe actually says to do is to cut it into ribbons, so that's your second option. So if you're gonna cut it into the ribbons, what I recommend is that as you take it out of the strainer, what you're gonna do is you wanna stack up all the leaves. So this is already like 4 or 5 leaves. We can even stack it a little higher and get a nice bunch right here. That's gonna make it a lot easier to cut through than a single leaf. So now I got a big bunch. If you have flat kale, you can even roll it up to make it easy to cut through, but these were smaller pieces. So we're just making a nice stack. We're gonna curl our fingers back to protect them, and then we're gonna cut right through it. Just thin ribbons that we're making. You can see these are beautiful small pieces now. I'll chop all this kale up until we have a beautiful full bowl. Okay, we've got a beautiful bowl of our kale. It's all in really small pieces now that are they're gonna actually get even smaller while we do the massaging. So because kale is a very hardy, sturdy green, massaging it is a way to actually break it down before you eat it. The same way that cooking would break it down, massaging it with oil, which is what we're gonna do, and a little salt, is going to break it down a little, make it easier to digest, easier to chew, and it'll just be even tastier. You wouldn't want to do this with a really delicate leaf like a lettuce, but you could do this with something like a chard or a collard to make a raw, hardy green taste even better. Add a tablespoon of olive oil. And we want to really get this mixed in, so I'm going to drizzle it all around and all over. And then I just washed my hands, so you definitely want to make sure you wash your hands first, because this is where we're going to get a little messy. It's going to get a little fun. We're going to get our hands in there, and we're going to just sort of massage it, right? Just sort of scrunch it up, spread that oil out, scrunch it up, and just twist and squish it and sort of move it between your hands, bunch it up. This is where, cooking is really fun. Get the kids doing this job, get messy. This is gonna help give it that nice texture that we want. So you can see, it'll also actually darken up in color as you massage it, similar to how it would if you were cooking it. Alright, now I'm going to get out a small bowl that I'm going to make my dressing in. We're going to make it separately so we can whisk it up and get it all nice and blended before we add it to our kale leaves. So this calls for 2 tablespoons of oil, so we're going to get 2 tablespoons of oil here, a tablespoon of lemon juice, so I've got a fresh lemon, so getting a nice tablespoon of lemon here. Alright, gonna add that to my oil. And then now I'm gonna add tahini. So tahini is a sesame seed paste, and it's an optional ingredient. If you don't have it on hand, you don't have to use it. But if you do have it, because you use it for other things, it can be really tasty. It adds like a nice creaminess, a little different flavor. And then we're gonna add a little mustard. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons of the mustard. So I got it a little smaller and we'll do 2 teaspoons. I'm using a Dijon mustard. Okay, so I've got my whisk and we've got our ingredients in here. So remember, we've got olive oil, lemon juice, tahini, and mustard. And we're just gonna whisk it up until it's nice and creamy. Okay, so that's all nice and whisked, and I'm also gonna add a little salt and pepper. So I have a little pepper grinder. I'm gonna grind some pepper in here and add a pinch of salt to make sure that we got some flavor here. And then I will give my dressing another stir. All right, who's ready to put our salad all together? So if you're looking at a recipe, you'll see that it calls for vegetables of your choice. So I think sliced bell peppers work really well. Today I'm using grated carrots. You could also just use chopped carrots if you don't want to grate them. I'm using about 2 medium carrots, or about a half cup. So that's what I'm going to do. You could do multiple different vegetable add-ins, but today I'm just going to stick with carrots. So I've got my carrots. I got a 1/4 cup of dried cranberries. I've got a 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds or pepitas. And then we've got our dressing. So we're gonna get those all mixed and all combined. So we got our beautiful greens here. And I'm gonna shake my carrots in there. Gonna add my pepitas. My cranberries are a little stuck together, so I'm gonna break those up with my hand so that we don't get them all in one bite. Alright, now we're gonna mix those things together and drizzle our dressing over and get that all tossed in as well. Start with some and then we'll come back and add the rest after we've mixed it some. This is gonna be really yummy and it's full of nutrients. Dark green veggies always give us lots of good nutrition. So kale and spinach are all really good for you. And then we add in our orange with our carrots, and we're just gonna get all sorts of nutrition and just freshness out of eating this healthy salad. Gonna add the rest of my dressing. And just mix that and stir it. So now I'm gonna serve myself up a little. I got some kale. I'm gonna make sure those pepitas and those cranberry seeds didn't all fall to the bottom. Get some in my bowl. And we're gonna try our kale salad. All right, so I'm excited. It smells really nice, really flavorful. Try to get a bite with some of everything in it. Yum. I'm really happy with it. I think you'll enjoy this too. It's nice and fresh, tastes really healthy, would be a great side dish, or you could add some stuff on top of it to make it more of a meal. You could add some protein, some chickpeas, some hard-boiled eggs, some chicken, and you could turn it into a whole meal if you wanted to. So I hope you'll check out the recipe, which is on our last Instagram post. Decided to make our kale salad. If you make it, let us know. Send us some pictures. Tag us on Instagram. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you will also check out our other videos on Instagram. Learn more about what we've been doing in our youth programs at the farm with cooking and gardening, and we've got more coming every Sunday to share with you. So thanks for joining me today. I'm Emily with the Leaf Program, and I hope you have a great week.